everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video where we are going to be talking about some conspiracy theories within makeup community, within the beauty community, just talking a little bit about stuff that you have been hearing, maybe stuff that you're believing, and I'm gonna give my 2 cents about it. Am I gonna unravel the truth? Absolutely not. I'm just one person and I just have some opinions, but I might be unraveling some truths actually, because there might be some situations where I do have a little bit more insider information than just a person watching the beauty community from the outside in. So I did film this look and it's already live on my channel. I will leave a link to that down below where you can find it, and also like what's on my face in case you are intrigued in what's going on in this situation right here. I am a big lover of colorful makeup and just more bold looks. So if that's something that you're interested in, I do have a lot of that right here. I did see this video from Phelps. I didn't watch it. I only watched the intro because I immediately thought this is something that I would like to do as well. So I will leave her video link down below, and now I have to go and look at it as well because I didn't want to get influenced by her thoughts on the conspiracy theories that she had. So honestly, don't 100% know what she answered, but when you're seeing this video, I've already gone in and watched her video, but I thought it was a good idea because I did ask you on Instagram and you came in like blazing and gave me a couple of things that I thought I could be responding to. So I won't be responding to all of them because I got quite a lot of them, but I thought I'd be responding to a couple of them. I heard that Jacqueline bailing on Makeup Geek collab is why the brand ultimately went under. I think that Marlena Stell, which is the owner of now no longer available makeup brand Makeup Geek, has been pretty vocal about that this was like one of the most factors that really like brought the brand to its knees. English is not my first language. Sometimes I struggle with like choosing the correct word for the sentence and I need to try around a little bit. From what I understand, Jacqueline had been working with Makeup Geek to do a collab, and this is what I'm gonna say, and this is a little bit of tough love, but they never got it in writing. You need to get everything into writing immediately when you decide to do something. I have done a couple of collabs with brands that I really love. Some of them we're going to be talking about in this video, and I've always said, oh, I need to get this into writing first before I start showing you ideas and before you start sharing like secrets with me of like, you know, production and all of that, because it is us sharing secrets with each other and trying to do something. And from what I heard from this is that they actually started production of some shades before getting it into paper, and Jacqueline bailed on the project because she got a better deal at Morphe, and the infamous Morphe and Jacqueline eyeshadow palette, the white one, came out. And I think even if you don't have it in writing, it's really shitty to jump ship like that and just to leave Marlena with those shadows. I honestly think that that is a bad idea, but I also think that it is important as a business owner and as an influencer as well to always have everything in writing, and make sure to read the contracts as well. Don't be afraid to ask to get changes in contracts. Almost every contract that I have ever like signed that have been a little bit more of importance, I've always requested changes. You are allowed to request changes, and I think that like Marlena trying to just coop after this, and we all know that Jacqueline loves browns and beiges. She was just stuck with a truckload of brown eyeshadows that she didn't really know what to do with, and some people would probably say, why don't you just sell the palette as it is? But the difference between selling a palette without Jacqueline's name on it and selling a palette with Jacqueline's name on it could be the difference between selling 10,000 units and, well, Jacqueline and Morphe did sell 1 million of their palettes. So this is not me giving you actual numbers. I'm just throwing some out there to show you what the difference could be. So yeah, I definitely think that that was a beginning of the end. Feels harsh to say, but it definitely brought the brand to their knees. BH Cosmetics might be returning to Ulta while REM might be leaving. This comes from an Ulta employee. Okay. I don't know about that honestly, because Ariana Grande just now bought the rights back from former brands for her own brand REM Beauty, and I don't know if they would leave Ulta or if they're like maybe going somewhere else then, because I don't personally think that it's a brand that's like failing, but I also might be mistaken. I might be totally mistaken about that. What do I know? But every time I see an REM display, there's always, it's very picked off. Maybe it's just popular taste. Maybe this is a Texas brand, who knows? I would wish for BH Cosmetics to come back. BH Cosmetics is one of my absolute favorite brands. I love their products, and I know that they've just now recently started releasing some new stuff. Actually, like the new stuff that's for their new brand, and it's been mascaras and eyeliners and brow products. I think that that is amazing. I would love to see BH Cosmetics come back into Ulta. Maybe REM is going out. I don't know about that, but I will say that I think Ariana Grande paid quite a hefty sum of money for her brand, and I don't know if she would be willing to pay that for a brand that was dying. I might be wrong. What do I know about business? But I don't think that that would be something that her financial advisors would like give her a green light on. What are your thoughts on all celebrity makeup and skincare lines? I also love Jen Phelps and you. Thank you so much. I really enjoy Jen's channel as well. I don't usually watch a lot of makeup dupes, but I love her like hauls and swatches and stuff. This is how I feel. There's a lot of like celebrity makeup brands that honestly make really good products. Are all of them good? I don't know about that, but there is a lot of celebrities that are known for the way that they do their makeup. And then there are some celebrities that I don't know if they're known for the way that they do their makeup. They might not be known for their amazing skin, like Brad Pitt. Why did he do a skincare brand? I mean, nobody knows. Isn't it Pharrell that did a skincare brand as well? And at least he is known for like, oh my god, Pharrell never ages, what is his secret? And then he releases his skin. That makes sense, and I really don't mind people monetizing on things that make sense. I mean, Gwen Stefani releasing signature lipsticks, it makes sense. I don't mind that at all, honestly. I do think that sometimes it makes less sense than other times, and I think it's the same with like, you know, like creator or like influencer brands as well. Sometimes it makes sense because like if you're a lover of makeup to create a beauty brand, I mean, that makes sense. I created my own beauty brand, just like up and coming, but it doesn't always make sense. But on the other hand, like, what do I know about people's interests and passions and all of that? Who am I to judge? So at the end of the day, I try to judge the products more than I try to judge like, why did this celebrity or why did this influencer get into the business? And then I have some exceptions of brands that I will not be touching with the 10-foot pole, but we all have our exceptions. This one I've heard before and I find it very fascinating. It's that Odins Eye isn't Swedish. They're lying to us. Can you debunk this, please? I don't know really where this came from. I mean, I'm Swedish, if you didn't know. I'm Swedish. Me and my husband live in Austin, Texas right now. He is doing his postdoc here, so we're staying here for a couple of years until he's done with that part of his research. And I'm Swedish, and the owner of Odins Eye is Swedish. I mean, I have talked to her several times. I've done a collab with Odins Eye. We talk in Swedish to each other. She has a Swedish phone number. I know where she lives in Sweden. Like, I know the owner's Swedish home address, and it is definitely very much in Sweden. And I mean, she's fluent in Swedish. Nobody is fluent in Swedish that's not Swedish. Nobody cares about Swedish. It's a language that makes no sense to know unless you're Swedish or very, very into IKEA. Very into. But as a lot of brands, they do have their manufacturing in China. A lot of brands have their manufacturing in China. This is not uncommon at all. Some people make it in Canada, some in the US, some in Italy, some in China, some in Korea. Like, manufacturing can happen all over the world, and they do have their fulfillment center in Hong Kong. And having your fulfillment center close to a big port like that, because of course the port in Hong Kong, they have some of one of the biggest like ports and like airport hubs in the world, so that they can ship basically anywhere a little easier. And also they are able to ship with VAT included. So regardless if you're living in the EU, in the UK, in Australia, in New Zealand, in Asia, in Africa, in like South America, in North America, wherever you're living, they can send it to you without duties. And for someone who is born and raised in Sweden, this is a big deal, because most of the time when you buy stuff from other countries, you have to pay duties on it. So this is a way for them to not only save on shipping costs, because otherwise if they would have to ship it from manufacturing, which is what most indie brands do, they will ship their stuff from China to the US and then will ship it from the US. Some people will ship them from their home or from their own warehouse. Some brands will have a fulfillment center. Most brands have a fulfillment center because it is easy. It is easy to have someone else package and ship out your things than doing it yourself. And also it can be very costly if you have to employ people yourself. And I also know that, for example, if I choose a fulfillment center in the US that is not in the state where I'm at, I have to register my company in that state as well. Let's say I want to open a fulfillment center in Wyoming. Why did I choose a state that nobody lives in? Nobody knows. But what if I say I don't want to open a fulfillment center, that I have to register my company there as well? So I'm guessing that's probably one of the reasons why Odins Eye is registered both in Sweden and in Hong Kong. And it's very easy to check up, like, the registered name in Sweden. They have their trademark for Odins Eye registered by their Swedish company in Sweden. And also the tax rules in Sweden is very, very different from what they are in the US. In Sweden, you can't just start a company. The Swedish IRS, Skatteverket, they have to approve you. They're not giving up tax exempt to just anyone. No. You have to prove that you have a company. You have to prove that you have an income. You have to prove that you make sense. That why are you running a company? They won't just approve anyone. And if they think that you're no longer fulfilling the status, they won't let you be a company. They won't just let anyone start a company and get the tax exemptions from doing like tax write-offs and stuff like that. Because in Sweden, that is seen as a tax privilege to be able to do write-offs for like a company and stuff. So if you're not fulfilling the rules, they won't let you be a company anymore. So they're still a company. I used to have a company in Sweden. I no longer do because I don't live in Sweden anymore. And also all of my invoices that I've ever sent to Odins Eye, I have sent to the Swedish brand, the Swedish company, and they have paid me in Swedish currency, and all of the taxes have been approved by the IRS, the Swedish IRS, which wouldn't happen if they weren't a Swedish company. So I think that sometimes these kind of rumors and stuff like that, it happens when brands become a little bit more hyped and people start trying to be like, you know, internet Sherlock Holmes, and they start digging into things. And this is me speculating because I don't know that much ins and outs of Odins Eye, but I'm guessing they have a fulfillment center in Hong Kong and they had to be registered in Hong Kong to be able to do that. Because if I started a fulfillment center in a different state or in a different place of the world, I'd have to register there as well, because I can't just be willy-nilly conducting business wherever I want to. So I don't know what to say about this. This information can be found online, and for people being this snoopy, you know, trying to be online Sherlock, I do think that they're doing kind of a poor job not finding the information that is right there. But it also could be because they don't speak Swedish, and therefore they're only reading the information they can find in English. And that's not going to do you a lot of good when the brand is Swedish. So yeah, I've heard this before, and I'm just... why would anyone lie about that? I don't understand. Like, all this information is on their website. It literally says, makeup is made in China, it's shipped out of Hong Kong. There's no duties on the packages. The information is right there, but I think that we're living in a time right now where people are just assuming that people are lying and that people are like, you know, trying to be like sneaky and being bad. And I think it comes from, there are some bad apples in this business, and there's some bad apples online and within the beauty community, and it just rubs off on everyone. So you see someone lying and automatically you think everyone's lying. I don't know. I saw some other here as well that was not that, but it was a similar one. Where did I find it? Here, brands like Nomad Cosmetics and Odins Eye keep the indie community on a payroll to keep relevant. They could not afford, and I'm saying this with love, they could not afford to pay everyone that reviews Odins Eye and Nomad Cosmetics on a payroll. No. And this is just based on me knowing what management wants you to charge for a dedicated review, which is probably, some of the people that are reviewing these brands, it's probably like 5,000-6,000 for a video. And there's no way that a brand like Odins Eye and Nomad Cosmetics would be able to pay some of these creators that for a video. And I find it very unlikely that all of the people that are doing videos on these brands are having an affiliate code that is giving them more money than the AdSense is giving them. Because I know some people that have codes with some of these brands, and I know some people are making quite some money on the codes, and I know some people are making cents. Again, this goes back to the some people are lying, so we're kind of assuming that everyone is. Sometimes we just have to accept that people just like these products. I've been very open about the things that I have loved from Odins Eye and the things that I have loved from Nomad Cosmetics and the things that I've not loved from them. I have put a product from both Odins Eye and both Nomad Cosmetics in my yearly worst makeup, not the same year. And I think that sometimes people only remember the good things we say about brands because they're like, oh my god, you're being paid by the brand, this is like sneaky, this is paid advertisement or like hashtag ad, but you're not disclosing. The brands are not paying that much money for us to keep us talking about the brand. We talk about these brands because we love them. I love some of these brands, and the reason why some of us have affiliate codes with some brands is because the brand is noticing that we're loving their products and they offer us a code. Why would they offer someone a code that hasn't tried or like loved the product? It doesn't 100% add up. There are brands that my friends have codes with and I don't, and the simple reason is because I'm not as in love with that brand or as in love with that brand's products or formulas or whatever. It's just, I think that this just boils down to that sometimes people think that when an influencer really loves something, it has to be someone who's paying for that. But I think that for most people, especially when you're like my size, when I'm like 120 something thousand subscribers, that might seem like a lot, but I am a small fish in this YouTube sea, and there's nobody having the budget to be paying influencers to say they love their products. There is no way. There's no way. And honestly, there are brands, smaller brands, brands that I don't review on my channel that I've been asking to pay for a positive review, and I have declined because I don't do that. I love what I love, and fortunately, I am able to work with some of the brands I love. But there are brands that I've like, they've been like a, coming in and then going out quickly. Like I do a review, I feel like it's meh, and then I never do a review of them again. They're not gonna send me PR. They're not going to offer me anything because I was not their audience. And I think people forget about all those brands that just are a flash in the pan and then they're gone. And they just keep thinking about the brands that get a little bit more hype. But sometimes brands get hype because they're good. They're doing stuff that people are liking. Like I love some of these brands. I mean, the brands that I talk about on my channel, I'm wearing the Lethal Cosmetics today. This palette, the new one, the Wildflower. I actually got a code from Lethal Cosmetics to use for 1 month. My code Angelica is now affiliated, but for 1 month only, and it's going to give people 15% off instead of 10. I have had that non-affiliated code for years. I have been doing dedicated Lethal Cosmetics videos for years, and I have not made any money with them. Which is fine because I like the brand. I like the brand. So sometimes I think people forget, because some brands get so hyped up and they think like, oh, you only love it because you're getting paid. And it's like, no, I love it because it's good products that makes me happy, that I enjoy using. That's just the way it is. And there are so many things that I love using that nobody is accusing me of getting paid. Like when I was loving the Give Beauty lipsticks by Gwen Stefani. I was raving about them for months and months and months, and I was always talking about them, and now I'm talking about those House Labs crayons. Oh my god, I love them. Listen, ain't nobody slipping me a check for that. And nobody's accusing me of that either because they're a big Sephora brand. I don't know what to tell you. This one says Kylie Cosmetics is basically ColourPop. Kylie Cosmetics Kylie Cosmetics was its own brand, but I think it was, they were having a licensing a deal with Seed Beauty, which is the brand that owns ColourPop, and it was made in Spatz Labs, which is the labs that produces ColourPop. And I think that sometimes we tend to think, because I got another question about this as well. This one is, makeup companies under an umbrella brand have the same formulas equals dupes. I think that sometimes we take the word dupe a little, I don't know what to tell you. I tried Kylie Cosmetics and I've tried ColourPop, and personally I preferred ColourPop over Kylie Cosmetics. And I definitely did not think that they were the same eyeshadow formula, and I definitely did not think that they were the same liquid lipstick formula. The liquid lipsticks from Kylie Cosmetics were better than the liquid lipsticks that ColourPop had from the beginning. Like the formulas that were produced at the same time. The Kylie ones were better, but they were produced in the same lab. The eyeshadows, I like the ones from ColourPop more than I like the ones from Kylie. They were produced in the same lab. And I think sometimes people forget that just because something is made in the same factory doesn't mean that it's the exact same recipe. usually brands won't let you just do just a copycat like that. There is a lot, I have a lot of insider information about these kind of things that I cannot share with you for reasons, but there is a lot of indie brands, smaller indie brands, that are made in the exact same factories as really huge Ulta and Sephora brands. Like, I know for a fact they're made in the same factory, but they don't have the same formula. Because you work with someone that develops a formula for you, and then that is your formula, and the brand usually has their formula that they want to stick with, and maybe they're open for suggestions, and they can work with they call it sometimes an engineer, someone to help you to develop your own formula, to make like changes and stuff. But it's not like they're just same thing, different packaging. I'm sure that that happens too, but after knowing what brands produce in the same facilities and trying these different brands, I can tell you that there are definitely differences. I definitely think there are similarities as well, and especially like isn't it L'Oreal that owns like a bunch of these like more bougie brands as well? I am sure that when they buy a bougie brand, they look at the formulations and they try to see how they can make those good formulations similar but less expensive for like Maybelline and L'Oreal and those like brands that they own. There is no way that L'Oreal didn't look at like formulations for Urban Decay, for example, and just be like, how can we utilize this? Was it L'Oreal, by the way, that bought Urban Decay, or Estee Lauder? Or Estee Lauder bought Too Faced, right? I don't know. This one is interesting. This says Natasha Denona is being dropped by Sephora. This one I have no idea about, but I have heard this before. And I think this is one of those rumors that we won't really know anything about until it like happens. And I will say, one of the things to really see whether or not this is happening or not is that now, and this has probably already happened when you're seeing this video, so maybe you can go in and check yourself. As I'm filming this, Natasha Denona is about to be dropping her new concealers, and changing a display in all of the Sephora stores to have concealers in them as well is an expensive thing, which is something that I don't think she necessarily would do if she wasn't planning to stay. So I will say, if the concealers are available at Sephora, my fairly unqualified guess will be that she is planning to stay at Sephora. If the concealers are not available at Sephora, I think we can see that as a sign that maybe she is going out, who knows? But she's also available right now at Ulta, so there's still somewhere where we can find it. I haven't actually seen, did I see a Natasha Denona display at Ulta? I think I only saw like an end cap, but that was like literally like the day that she was launched. So I'm gonna have to go into an Ulta again and look at that. But this is what I'm guessing, because changing displays in Sephora stores, that is something that you have to pay as a brand. You want to change your display, you want to put it in a display, as a brand, you have to pay for the display. Sephora is not giving you a display. Okay, I'm gonna do one last one, but let me know if you would like to see something similar to this in the future, because I thought this was really fun and interesting. This one is kind of interesting because I've been thinking something similar myself. e.l.f. is duping everyone as a way to sneak more expensive products to their line. This is what I've been thinking too. Remember when e.l.f. had those $1 lipsticks? And now, quite recently, they released a lipstick that was supposed to be a dupe for the NARS Audacious lipsticks, which are, let me quick Google, hold. So the NARS Audacious lipsticks are $34 each, which is a high-end lipstick. And the e.l.f. Lipsticks, the O-Face lipsticks, are supposed to be a dupe for them. They're $9 each. And you might think like, oh, that's such a good steal, getting a dupe for $9. But don't forget where e.l.f. came from. e.l.f. used to be a $1 brand, and going from $1 to $9 that's kind of expensive, and that's quite the jump. That's almost like $1,000 increase. So I think that it's interesting from that perspective, because I feel like it's the same with the Charlotte Tilbury dupes that they've been doing. Yes, they're affordable when you compare them to Charlotte Tilbury, but they're very expensive when you compare them to what e.l.f. has done before. So I definitely think there could be something to this conspiracy, because I will tell you, e.l.f. has really gone up. e.l.f. is making good products. I think some of the things that e.l.f. has been releasing has been honestly really, really great product. Not all are created equal. Not everyone is great, but I think they've been creating really, really good products. but I definitely think there's some truth to the fact that they're duping really expensive products as a way to disguise that their prices are really, really getting up there. My lipstick is getting a little patchy. Let's ignore that. Let's ignore that. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing day. Please let me know what you think down below. Try to keep it respectful. And also remember, opinions are opinions and facts are facts. They are not interchangeable. Let's not get them intertwined with each other. They're not the same thing. And I hope you're having an amazing day. Did I already say that? I might have, but I will see you soon. Bye!